There's an anxiety that can form if you isolate for too long. Just think of the consequences of what COVID had done. It all started out smooth in the sense that many appreciated the ability to not have to leave, whether it was for work or school, the canceling of many parties and public events that we were used to. Since it was all something that we were going through simultaneously, we either called and connected with one another or became a more isolated being. For nearly 2 years, it became what we did with our lives until May 29th, 2022 arrived, when the COVID ban was lifted in many establishments and we were finally able to reconvene. Many were excited to return to a life that we knew. Some fields of work, they never stopped working in the fields where they work around other people. Society scared us with more than a sickness in reality. It created an isolation, which may have formed an anxiety. I've heard it from many, and more than a few, people open to admit that they feel a sense of anxiety that they had never knew. With a gentle reminder, yes, and I do believe that it may have stemmed from the isolation that we were forced upon in society. And it wasn't everywhere this isolation from an illness that came through. States like Florida and New Hampshire, it's like they didn't care or weren't watching the news. Personally, I couldn't believe the difference of this disease between fields like human services and casinos, where there is so much exchange between people, cards, and money. As I transitioned from seeing my employees wearing hazmat suits when providing help and support to those with low immunity, to a customer service role, it was like two different worlds, and quite frankly, I could hardly wrap my head around it when my eyes saw this reality. COVID is just one example, but many may experience similar feelings when going through sickness, transitions, and hard times. Even though others can relate, we can seclude our lives. For what we believe at first will be days, but then those days turn to weeks. Weeks turn to months, and sometimes a year or more passes by where you have limited interaction with other people. There's comfort that forms in the discomfort, even though we don't like the discomfort we put ourselves through. With that, an anxiety, an irritability, a worthiness or unworthiness, really, to change what we do. That fear can take over the mind and the body. We become overthinkers, yet we aren't even thinking or interpreting correctly. It's your future and your life's trajectory. When we do go out, even to perform the most basic tasks because we have to, we feel uncomfortable, like a shake inside or a tremor, the way an alcoholic would feel who's white-knuckling their life. We tell ourselves inside, see, I knew I should never have left and try to complete the task quickly. Feeling the home is the safe haven to be, add the news and we just become fearful of people. You can long for connection, yet do the opposite of what you know you need, which creates a sadness because we weren't put on this world to not be connecting beings. If you have it instilled in your heart and your mind, you may feel this societal itch to return back to a life that you know is out there and capable to achieve, because if you don't like how you feel or how things are going for your life, you do have to make that choice to make the change and leave. You have to choose. And the discomfort, even if at first feels uncomfortable, to achieve, like a child feeling for the first time they try something new that they had seen, giving yourself a hard time, being the worst critic regarding your life. But the saying goes, if at first you don't succeed, you try and you try and you try again. You don't just simply give up on your integrity. So what? You had a failure, maybe for a year or two. Yet if you look forward, you realize you have more years ahead of you than the last 365 days that you've been through. As long as you don't keep wasting time watching it go by daily, using the tomorrow phrase, I'll do it tomorrow, knowing tomorrow will just be harder to achieve the change that you undeniably do want to see. You can focus on your failures or mishaps where you didn't make it or become what or who you want to be. But Holding on to that past, it doesn't help, but hold on to a fear to create a new plan or goals, and you can either blame or release. Fear, blame, shame, what it tends to do is create unrealistic thoughts that are probably not the most accurate, just a feeling held within you. Until you make a change and look through the other side, let go of the understandable fear that you did build up inside. It's not reality. And running away from it isn't even an option, because that coping mechanism will just follow you the next time you feel anything outside of your identity as normalcy, of your comfort zone. So then you'll repeat the pattern, the cycle. How many places can you run to before you run out of options of where you want to plant your feet? Your heart, a hurt human, because running didn't confront the fear or change. You just denied your life and your truth, that we as human beings can simply run away or isolate, and we won't find peace, I'm telling you. Maybe temporarily, but if you ran away just to avoid a place that you never even wanted to leave, you just did it because it felt uncomfortable, and no one wants to feel discomfort necessarily, but you did do yourself a disservice. You didn't do anything else besides pack your bags up and leave. Yet you packed up your troubles along with your belongings when you left indefinitely. You definitely left, but your problems didn't leave you. Since you never confronted them to begin with, how do you think your heart and your soul feel? Soul being the mentality within you. A bitterness, a jealousy, an underlying anger that either leads you to finding others who are going through the same, but now you are just connecting based on the hardships of your history. I don't want to base my internal happiness based on what I have around me. Running to avoid a hardship, but denying where it is I want to be. But with that, taking on an overarching feeling of unworthiness when it's our responsibility to grab the bull by the horns. Whether it's a loss of a job, friends, financial means, whatever it was. They are aspects of life. They lead to feeling like a contributing human being, which is understandable, and our responsibility not to dwell on the past or fears of the unknown because of what we have seen, because not everyone is going to have a ship sail by with a buoy and a life vest. You do have to help you, because you know that you are deserving and you do want to. Like a therapist who can't tell you what to do, just to provide an ear with the means to letting you know you aren't alone, and it's understandable to feel certain ways within reality. Reality which many choose to escape, whether it's with substance abuse or thoughts, to teeter more on the ideal or surreal plane when there is potential to succeed, and not merely escape, but a chance to deal with life accordingly. If escaping your reality is your solution, it becomes harder when asked by other people, hey, what brings you to this neck of the woods? When you only have one true reason. You ran away when things didn't feel good internally. How do you not think you won't simply continue to use that response next time troubles are seen? Not handling any situation or problem you've been through, not confronting, not standing up for yourself and your life. You. Having core values creates boundaries. We can't simply escape, move, run away like a child would do. There does become a point in life where we have to look in the mirror and see. We are the adult man or woman or human and can't just run away from our feelings. You can cut your hair, color it, and strip your body, and you can think you'll find freedom. On the outside, you do tend to look like a hurt being who morphed their life. It did not grieve what you'd gone through, just changed yourself and the people in your story too. Or your lifestyle, because guess what? You'll always find others who can and will relate to you. That doesn't make it right because you found a group. Call it what you want to make it sound appealing when inside you're screaming because you have to do so much healing. Patterns repeat with what people do and how they react unless you are so mindful that you realize your response pattern to change your life and your story. It's okay to make a few big changes when you see the need. But a person who bounces around from job to job or location, you start to wonder, who or what are they escaping from? You have to question and come to terms with your choices and your life reasons and how you reach them. It's the fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. But this time, you're the fool towards you. Reacting and responding the same way to stay in a sense of comfortability, as patterns do repeat, unless that person is a consciously ever-changing being, which really is not as high as a percentage as society would like to see. Lots of false promises types, or those who speak of betterment. I promise I'll do better, with no actual plan, and no plan at all to change, just blubbering. We get fixated on words said to us and to ourselves, but words with no action, just a life of hope they mean it as well. They hope too that you keep avoiding the falsity of what they don't intend to do. I hope you realize you deserve better for yourself, as I have had to come to these terms with this truth within my life. Where you stay at your lowest vibrational energy, helping others instead of helping yourself, not able to live a life doing what you enjoy, and maybe things you didn't even know you were capable to do or achieve. Overly helping others, being an actual crutch, not just a supporting being. We can take on that inside and deny ourselves and our integrity. With denial comes sadness and anxiety, which may lead to an isolating pattern coming full circle, but not anything that's healthy. Baby steps, like what about Bob from the 90s? One small step for man, one large step for an ant or a turtle who's walking slowly. It's the only thing we are in charge of and capable to do, to go forward without looking in that rear view. Don't deny and don't be the thorn in your own side, rearranging or just molding your life to suit your need. Come to terms that we are all in need to heal as we are human beings. So please don't stay isolated for too long and not be a contributing human here on Earth School, because there's always someone who can and will have an ear and will be able to relate to you. I love you.